Oh, what is the Upskis, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GXGamerCast. We're on episode 162 of my little gaming show where once a week I just has to talk about video games. Whether they're new video games that I'm playing today, old video games that I grew up with, it doesn't matter. Video games. And today, we're going to be taking a little look at a topic that some people definitely will go through as they're in their times as a gamer, and that is gaming burnout. So we're going to be discussing gaming burnout. I'm also going to be discussing a couple of games here, so do a couple of little mini reviews. A half review, and that review is Hollow Knight Silksong. Did not finish that game. Don't know if I'm ever going to finish that game. That's a story for a different day, but it is kind of the game that has led me to go into a little bit of a gamer burnout right here, so we're going to be discussing that. But before we talk about the topic at hand, let us discuss what I've been up to over the last week or so. As I always encourage you, the viewer, the listener, let me know what y'all have been up to over the whatever amount of time. Doesn't matter. What games are you playing right now? Summer's over, and, personally, fall, love fall. Big fall guy, really enjoy it. Super cozy. You start to get comfy sweaters on, comfy socks. You get warmer, and inside anyway. You get to cuddle up, and you get to cuddle up with your favorite video games. And oh yeah, this is a great season for me. October, November. October is generally kind of spooky games, spooky movies, and then November, I like to remember in November. So I replay games, some favorite games, rewatch a couple of favorite movies, stuff like that, just to, remember why I love those things so much, or, maybe things didn't age as good, so, all that great stuff. So let me know what you are planning to play this October, what kind of spooky games are you thinking about playing, and all that great stuff, and hit me with some recommendations for spooky games to play. I am pretty much tapped out on Resident Evils and Dead Space games. I played pretty much all that there is for that, but there's definitely a lot of games on my radar, like Evil Within. I played the first game, really enjoyed it. There was some jank to that first game, but I kind of want to get into the Evil Within 2. I hear some decent things about that. There's the Callisto Protocol, which I know is a pretty mixed game, but I still wouldn't mind giving it a look just to see what's going on. Silent Hill 2 is one that is on my docket to get finished this October. The original Silent Hill, not the remake that just came out, but the original game. Hoping to get into that one pretty soon. Just kind of waiting for the right feels, trying to finish off some other games here before I get too much on my plate. And speaking of that, let's talk about some of the games that I've been playing over the last week or so. Alright, we got Planet Zoo. I finished off the final level. At least I got bronze on it, so I got the trophy finally for getting bronze level on all of them, which is a shame, because I've gotten gold on pretty much a lot of them, but the later levels in that Planet Zoo get so freaking tough, man. Like, the final one was really fun, but it's very, very hard. They give you a very small plot of land, and it's empty, and they're just like, build a zoo, and right off the hop, they're like, yeah, we want 7 habitated animals. I'm like, holy crap, that's a lot for this minimal space that I have. So it was fun creating that zoo. Eventually, it went so into debt, I just had to stop playing that zoo, because I was like 20 grand in debt, and there's no way I was getting out of that. That is something I have not figured out in Planet Zoo, is like how to consistently make good money. I'm doing what the game tells me to do, but I'm not making any money. So, don't know how much I'll be playing Planet Zoo. There's other zoo-like games that I would like to try out, especially Jurassic Evolution 2 I've had on my docket for a little while. That looks like a lot of fun. Against the Storm, I think, is another one that I have downloaded on Xbox. I want to check that one out, but still plotting around with Planet Zoo. There's still like the franchise mode, there's time challenges, there's a lot more to do in this game, so I'm just don't feel like I'm very good at it, so I don't know. Alright, playing NHL 26, just a little bit, not much. Played a little Be a Pro last night. I literally got 2 games in, and I'm like, this is just boring, man. I don't know what it is. Well, I do know what it is. It's just, the gameplay's not that good in NHL 26. It's so slow. Holy moly. Like, I'm thinking back to, like, my older NHL games, where it was a little more arcadey. NHL 09 to, like, NHL 13. Like, they just felt really fast and snappy, and this NHL game just feels slow and sluggish, and everything's done in frickin' half speed, it feels like. I'm not liking it. Still playing Be a Pro, like I said. I'm on the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm on the top line with Austin Matthews and William Nylander. I'm in preseason. I got like fucking 10 points in 4 games. Like, I'm crushing it. It's just not that fun. Like, I can play a game or two and I'm like, I'm bored. Like, this isn't it. In the GM mode, I've only played, basically got myself stuck where I pissed off Austin Matthews, and I didn't lowball the guy, but he wanted like fucking 15 million or something. I'm like, yo, I'll give you like 13.75. Like, I know about the 10-15% discount thing in the game. So he says no, and I try again. He says no, and he says, hey, you know what? Go fuck yourself. I want 22 million now. I was like, what? I have never in my history in NHL have seen a number that big for a singular player. So I went and did my playoff run. I thought about trading Austin Matthews, but St. Louis was the only place he would go to for some reason, and I didn't want to do it, so I kept him for a playoff run. We got to the finals, and we lost. We lost in the finals, so that was like my last bullet in the chamber, was like, if we win a Stanley Cup, he might change his mind and want to stay. But nope, we lost in the finals. He wants to go, so yeah, I don't really want to continue with that GM mode anymore because I kind of fucked up. So maybe I'll do another GM mode someday. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm feeling with NHL 26. It's just not that good. So if you're on the fence about it, and I would definitely wait for a sale, wait for that Black Friday. What's the other one called? Black Friday? Is that what it is? Boxing Day is the other one. There you go. Yeah, wait for a sale like that. Get it half off because it's just not worth the money. All right. Still playing Pokemon Sun, just kind of plopping away at that. Not playing a lot, but just a little bit here and there. I'm enjoying my team that I'm building. I'm trying to pick Pokemon that I'm like, I know I haven't used before. Like, I kind of fall into the same rut where I pick the same Pokemon. You know, you got your Pidgeotto type Pokemon. You got your fucking starter. I always have a Gyarados with me. I always end up having like a Haunter or Alakazam or someone like that. But yeah, trying to get like different Pokemon. I got like a Cubone with me. I got a Miltank. Like, I'm just trying some different Pokemon on, seeing how it goes. And yeah, it's all right, not too bad. Still playing that. Played Parappa the Rappa 2. Got through that game in its entirety. Only took me like an hour and a half to get through it. And yes, I do still plan on doing a rhythm game episode at some point. I'm still just trying to add some more games to that list. Because, you know, all said and done, I haven't played that many rhythm games outside of Rock Band and Guitar Hero. So I'm trying to add a few more of those. I've added 2 more to the list. There's a Patapong I want to try out next. I've heard great things about that game. Never had a PSP, so I've never played them, but it's on my PlayStation, so I'm kind of curious to see how that is. But Parappa the Rappa, definitely worth like a play because it's only an hour and a half, but it's pretty basic. But it's really quirky. It's really weird. It's a strange video game. It's got a very interesting art style where people are kind of like papery, and the music is cool. Like, it's interesting rap songs. They're pretty funny. They're pretty entertaining. And but yeah, the gameplay is very basic. You're just pressing the face buttons of your controller. And literally, I was playing another game, and it did something very similar to Parappa the Rappa, and its first song was harder than anything in Parappa the Rappa. So it's pretty easy to get through, replayable. It's a good time. I had a good time with it. Never played a Parappa the Rappa before, so I'm going to keep my thoughts on it minimal so I can save that for the rhythm game episode. But it was cool, man. Like I said, check it out. You can get through it in an hour and a half. So that's kind of the cool thing about rhythm games. They're generally short but replayable. Very, very replayable. And I would say that is true about Parappa the Rappa 2. I wish they had Parappa the Rappa 1 on there, but they don't. They only have 2, which is a PS2 game. So, and I didn't know that. I didn't know it got to PS2. So that's kind of cool. Speaking of kind of cool, played and finished off Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Boom, son, just got that bitch done. It's been on my docket for a long time. I've had Shadow of the Tomb Raider downloaded on my PlayStation for months, craving an Uncharted-like experience, and I've been wanting to replay Uncharted 4, but every time I want to go do it, I'm like, yo, you gotta play Shadow of the Tomb Raider, because I loved Rise of the Tomb Raider. Rise of the Tomb Raider is up there, man, for, like, I might like it more than some Uncharted games, that's for sure. It was very, very good. And Shadow of the Tomb Raider, didn't like it as much, but it was still very enjoyable. Like the Lara Croft character, it's very violent. Like, I remember there was just, like, they had a child that got killed in the game. Like, not a spoiler, it was like a no-name character in the game, but the child, like, you try to save the child, and then the child just drops like hundreds of feet, and you're like, well, that kid is dead. And I'm like, yo, this is a mature-ass game. There's some very violent deaths for Lara Croft in the game, like, smash her head open on a fucking rock, she'll get impaled, she'll get chopped in half, she'll get fucking concussed and just drowned. A whole bunch of ways to kill Lara Croft in this game, and it's really enjoyable. The platforming was pretty good. The puzzles were okay. The combat's decent. I felt like I enjoyed the combat a lot more in the second game. I feel like that's just like enemy placement and enemies that you're fighting. This time around, the story is a little bit more like out there. You know, I don't really want to go too much into details on it because, well, I didn't follow the story that much. I'm just playing the game. Like, the story's there, cool, but I'm here for the gameplay, you know what I'm saying? And the gameplay was good. I enjoyed it. There is a lot of side shit that I did not do in this game, and it doesn't really encourage you to do it. It's not like, oh, hey, go check this out, or like, there wasn't like a whole lot of that kind of stuff. It's kind of like, explore it if you want to. It's here. There's a lot of collectibles, and there's a lot of little hidden treasures to find, and little tombs to go raid, and all that shit, but I wasn't really doing much of that. I was just enjoying the Tomb Raider experience, and would definitely recommend these games. I've had them on my underrated games list before. These Tomb Raider reboot games, they are fantastic. If you like Uncharted, you like, you know, platforming games, action adventure games, don't miss out on the Tomb Raider games. They're dirt cheap, and they're great. They're great video games. I would hit this one with a 7.5 out of 10. Didn't like it quite as much as Rise, but still really good video games. So there you go. And I also started up, I have been a busy bee this week, started up Like a Dragon Ishin. So I will admit, it is not the type of game I thought it was going to be. It's more of a Yakuza game and not Like a Dragon. What do I mean by that? Well, the Yakuza games are more beat-em-up, open-world games, and Like a Dragon is more of a RPG, turn-based action RPG, so I was kind of expecting that with the Like a Dragon name on it. I'm like, oh, okay, Like a Dragon, that's their RPG series. Well, hold the brakes. No, not so much. So Yakuza Ishin takes place in the 1800s, Japan, feudal, is it feudal Japan? I don't know, but it's in Japan, like 1860s or something like that. So normal Yakuza games take place like modern-ish times, you know, 2000s, so on and so forth. And this one takes place way back. And it's cool, like, I was kind of disappointed that it wasn't the turn-based RPG. That's kind of what I was expecting here. But when I get into it, it's beat 'em up, and it's fine. I played Yakuza 0 earlier this year. It's kind of more of that, but not as good. Basically because the side activities aren't as good. They're not as interesting or as fun yet anyway. I mean, that's basically just a modern thing. Like, there's just more cool shit to do in a modern setting than there would be in a 1800 setting. So, like, shit you can, like, there's some cool shit you can do. Like, you got a little house, like a little farm you're taking care of. That's, not really doing a lot for me. They have some side stuff you can do. Like, there is a karaoke bar you can go to in 1800s Japan, and you can go sing, and that's pretty cool. There's a dancing place. There's, like, chicken fights and stuff like that. It's cool, man. I like the story so far. You're, like, infiltrating this fucking group of warriors that they all, well, not all of them, but like 10 of them or something, train a certain style of sword art, and you are tracking this one particular guy that uses this sword technique down because he killed your homies, and you gotta fucking, no way, son. So it's a story of revenge, and of course, you know, that's Yakuza for you. There's a lot of revenge and a lot of stuff like that, but very enjoyable, beautiful looking game. I like, it is using a lot of reused assets, which is normal for Yakuza games. That's kind of what they've always done. That's how they get the games out a lot faster, but it's still quite different in terms of story, setting. Other than that, it's another Yakuza game, but I love me some Yakuza, so it's not a bad thing. It's just, the one thing that gets me is, you know, you're running around, and there's just a group of enemies that you're gonna have to deal with, and it's like, ugh, don't really want to deal with another random group of enemies, and people are constantly chasing you down looking for fights. I'm like, just leave me alone. just leave me alone. I want to go fishing. I want to go feed this cat. I want to go give the dog a bone and fucking leave me alone. So playing some Yakuza Ishin, enjoying that. That's kind of my big slice of game right now. And I just kind of have Pokemon on the side. So there we go. That's all I've been up to over the last week or so. As always, I encourage you, let me know what y'all have been up to, what horror games you plan on taking down this October. And, shooting for November. I don't know if anyone does the same thing that I do, but in November, I like to revisit games, remember games. It's the month of remembrance, so I like to replay some games, and I already got a few games that I would like to replay, Uncharted 4 being amongst them. And actually, it almost feels like it's going to be a Naughty Dog replay this November with possibly The Last of Us 2 as well. Maybe give that one a shot, but we'll see where that one goes. All right, maybe another Resident Evil. Who knows? I can always go for Resident Evil. All right, so let's get into it. We did a little mini review on Shadow of the Tomb Raider, or I think that's what it's called. We'll do a mini review of Hollow Knight Silk Song, a review in progress, if you will. Can't really give it a score because I only played about 12, 15 hours of the game, so it's not a complete review, but I will discuss the game. All right, so we'll get into that right now. Oh, baby, did we ever wait so long to finally get the sequel to 2017's Hollow Knight, which, yes, I did defeat, not in its entirety. I didn't do the Ultimate Radiance or whatever the fuck that was, or the Trials or whatever. I beat the game, and I'm very, very proud of it. Now, I cannot say the same thing about Silk Song, very sadly. Even though I waited 8 years for this, well, not really. I don't remember what year I played Hollow Knight. Maybe 2019, maybe 2020, possibly later. I don't know when I got into that game, but when I got into the original Hollow Knight, it grabbed me and never really let me go. And I can't quite say the same thing about this game. Now, that goes in terms with the gamer Burnout. We'll get into that later. But right now, we'll discuss my thoughts and opinions so far on Hollow Knight Silk Song. So, has it been worth the hype? Has it been worth the wait and all that stuff? So far, I would say absolutely. My only problem is that I'm dealing with a little bit of gaming burnout right now, and I don't really feel like getting my ass kicked by arguably one of the hardest games, maybe the hardest game I've ever played. I don't know. I can't confirm this or not because I haven't gotten through it, but I paused. I paused on this game. I said, you know what? I'm not in the mood anymore. I am just not in the mood, and that's okay. That's absolutely okay. You don't have to be in the mood for everything. You don't have to be on the train for the hottest new game on the market. You just don't have to be. Play what you want to play when you want to play it. That is a good way to stay out of gamer burnout. Now, why I'm dealing with gamer burnout with Silk Song in particular is because I already played a bunch of Metroidvanias this year. I did Nine Souls earlier this year, which was a very, very difficult game. Very similar to Hollow Knight. I did not know we were getting Hollow Knight this year, so I played Nine Souls. If I knew Hollow Knight was coming this year, I wouldn't have played that game. I would have saved myself, but I didn't know, and I thought the game was awesome. Nine Souls is an awesome video game. I have a full review on it, so you can go back and check that out. But I played that. I played some Castlevania. I played another Metroid. I feel like I played a couple of Metroidvanias, and my issue is I'm not the biggest Metroidvania fan. I still like them a lot. Really enjoy them, but there are just some things about Metroidvanias I don't like. Constantly being lost. Kind of a thing in Metroidvanias. You generally are just roaming around, hitting a wall. You're like, oh, okay, I can't go this way. I'll try some other direction. And you'll hit another wall and you go, oh, okay, I'll try some other direction, or I'm going to have to look it up on Google. And that is one of the worst parts, is trying to look up what the fuck to do in a Metroidvania online, because people can play the game in any order. Like, there's generally like multiple paths you can go down, so good fucking luck trying to find out where the hell you are in this person's guide or that person's guide. It is just a freaking mess, and there's so much backtracking. There's so much backtracking in a Metroidvania. Generally, it's not a killer for me. I don't like backtracking, obviously. I'm not big on backtracking, and you're doing a ton of backtracking in Metroidvanias. You're revisiting areas you've already been, now with a new power that now you can move forward with, or you got a new weapon, or you're able to get past this boss that was blocking you forever, so on and so forth. So you have all that. And generally speaking, Metroidvanias are usually very, very hard. That's just generally the way they go. The bosses are generally really difficult. Enemies can be difficult. The placement of enemies can be difficult. You know, they'll place them in right in your jumping path, so you're going to have to deal with them, or so on and so forth. So back to the game, back to Hollow Knight Silksong. This is the sequel to Hollow Knight, and this game actually started out as a DLC for Hollow Knight, but it became so much bigger and more kept getting added to the game that it just became much, much bigger than a DLC. And yes, this game is big. I think people were saying it could take like 35 to 40 hours, give or take your skill level. Like, I've heard reviews where people are like, I spent 9 hours on a gauntlet run, or I spent 7+ hours, or I spent multiple days on this boss, and so on and so forth. So that was a big turnoff as well, you know, listening to some of the reviews and hearing like pretty much from every reviewer that at maybe not 9 hours, like 9 hours was egregious, but it's pretty cool that this game started out as a DLC, got so much bigger, and look how big this game is. Look how big the numbers are for, like, sales and everything are fantastic. I was over the moon with the sales of this game and how well it's doing. Critically received very, very well from both fans and critics. It seems awesome. I love the amount of people that are playing it concurrently. That is awesome, especially to see such a small game. Well, it's not small. I mean, it's small by a small team, and it's an indie game, yes, but by no means is this game small. It's a big game. It's a big boy game. But I just love seeing all this love and how successful an indie game is. Hopefully that is something we'll see a lot more commonly in the future, and it's not just the big games. I would like to see a lot more games have a success story such as Hollow Knight Silksong in the indie format, because if we didn't have indie games, man, I don't know where gaming would be. Like, indie games is where all the creativity and these really unique ideas and storylines come out of, and it just really brightens up the landscape that is gaming sometimes. Sometimes it can be pretty barren, and there's a type of game that's just hot right now, and everyone's putting out that kind of thing. Like, for me, for an example, I remember when multiplayer was getting shoved into every game, doesn't matter what game it is, BioShock, fucking everybody was putting multiplayer in their game, whether it needed it or not, and it's just something that I was a single player gamer. I love my single player games, and it was taking from my single player experiences because they're putting more assets into a mediocre multiplayer thing that people are going to play for maybe a week. Like, you know, it's just a trend I didn't really enjoy right there. But again, back to Hollow Knight, this game is hard as hell. I will tell you that right now. I would say it is, I'm not going to go like crazy and say it's like substantially harder than Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight is a hard game. It's just the difficulty out of the gate in Silksong is higher than it was in Hollow Knight. Like, Hollow Knight, there's a little bit of a gradual grow there in its difficulty where it's a little more manageable. In Silksong, you play as, what's her name? Hornet, and she's a little more well-endowed than the knight was in Hollow Knight. In the original game, you're kind of this small, kind of fragile little skull guy, and in this game, you are Hornet, who you meet in Hollow Knight. She's bigger, she's faster, she's probably stronger, she's got a cool-ass needle thing, she can just do things a little bit better than the original character in Hollow Knight. So, with you being more beefy, they gotta beef up the game a little bit too, not to make it super easy, but I wish they kind of helped me move along a little bit, because, like, man, I hit walls in this game, like, really, really early on, and we'll discuss that. I will discuss the bosses that I fought. I did rank them with a letter grading, so I'll talk about that as well. But anyway, I'm all over the place, I apologize, but the basic concept of the story of the game is Hornet is captured and taken to a mysterious bug kingdom called Farloom. That is the place that you are in right now, and Hornet ends up escaping from prison and now climbs the peak in search of the Citadel for answers. Those answers to what questions? I don't know. Why am I here? All that, the usual shit. What the fuck's going on? All that. So, pretty cool concept. I like the concept. I fell in love with the lore of Hollow Knight, the original. There were so many great videos on it. And I'm waiting for more of the same for Silksong. I can only imagine there's tons of stuff going over my head right now. I can only imagine. And I will say, I haven't played this game in probably 2 weeks, maybe longer. I really put it down the hard way. I didn't want to do that, but it's the way that it went. Time flew. I went back to it, and I was like, I'm lost. It's been too much time. So that's another drawback to Metroidvanias. You really got to dedicate yourself to that kind of game because it's confusing. You got to kind of memorize the map a little bit, know where you're going, know what you're doing, what you did, what you've done, all that stuff. You really got to pay attention, more so when you're playing a Metroidvania. And sometimes I like to smoke weed when I play video games, and it's hard to concentrate. Like, oh shit, did I go left already, or do I need to go right? So one of my big quarrels with Hollow Knight Silksong is the map system. I do not like the way the map is dealt with in this game. So you have no map. That's essentially it. You don't have a map, and a map is essential for a Metroidvania. It's essential. Now, don't get me wrong. You do have a map in this game. You just got to buy it. You got to find it, and it's not my favorite. I hate running blind in Silksong, not knowing where I have been, where I've been, where I'm going. Like, I'm trying to take mental notes. I'm like, all right, here's a fork in the road. I'm going up. Try to remember to come back and go down, or go left, or go right, so on and so forth, etc. But it became difficult, and eventually I started finding pieces of the map. But even when you have the map, it's not what I want in a map. I want the map to actively tell me where I am at all times. I want it to update itself as it's going, and in Hollow Knight it doesn't do that. If you have a piece of the map and you go back to an area, you're revisiting it, and you're like, all right, I need to go up this way. I haven't explored this area yet. You can go up there, but it's not going to put it on your map as you're going through it. So you're going to have to go back to a bench, find a bench, then it'll fill in the map that you've uncovered. So not my favorite way for a map to be going. I would much prefer it to be on the go. Like, as I'm going down this hallway, it's uncovering the map for me and tells me, oh, there's a way up, there's a way down, and it also is keeping track of where I've been. So, and Hollow Knight, like I said, it's not a small game. Not a small game. Like, if you want to get intimidated, look up the full entire map of Hollow Knight before you start playing it, and just look how big it gets. It's a lot, and there's a lot of retracking and going back to this place and checking on this dude, which is also really cool. Not a negative. But the map, for me, was a negative. I did not like the way that the map system was working out. Not for me. And what else didn't I like about the game? Well, like I said, I didn't like the initial, like, how hard it is out of the gate. It's pretty tricky. And there is a part in the game that I know a lot of people had trouble with when they were playing it. And I forget what area of the game it was, but it's when you got to start pogo jumping on the red flowers. People had trouble with that. Now, what do I mean? So Hornet has like a downward thrust attack, but it goes in a diagonal. So most gamers would be used to them, like, if you hit down A for your attack or whatever, down X, you're going to go straight down. But not with Hornet, you're going to go at a 45-degree angle, so you got to compensate for that. See, that never became a problem for me, because you can change that. You can change the way that she jumps. She can jump straight down if you want to. You just have to change it. So I did that, and I didn't have any problems. I went through that red rose area with the diagonal jumps. Yeah, it's not the best. It doesn't feel very good. You constantly feel like you're going to fall off, and it's just not the best. But outside of that, the controls for this game are fantastic. It feels great. You're a little slow at the beginning because you don't have a dash or anything. So it takes, it's a little hard. Like, for example, I went back, like, reloaded a save or something, and I was walking again. I was like, oh god, I feel so very slow. Or I was watching a video of it or something like that, and watching someone move that slow. So in traditional Metroidvania fashion, you are gaining abilities as you go. I think I have the double jump. I think that's where I got to. It's classic Metroidvania stuff. You'll get your double jump, you'll get your wall climb, you'll get your, well, in Hollow Knight you have like a, what would that be called? Like a float, basically. Like, she can open up her cape thing and it'll help float you down nice slowly and gently and stuff like that. It's really nice. You got your attacks. So the combat in And Hollow Knight is really good. Still, it feels good. Very similar to Nine Souls. Like you're equipped with a little sword and you're just going at it, man. You're just whacking them. Enemies are very strong in this game, I'll say. Like, holy moly, like way tougher to deal with than I found in the first Hollow Knight. Like every enemy is like heart pounding. Like, oh, they can take me down. Like they can kill me. Even the smallest little bugs can take you down. And yeah, and some of the heavier enemies, holy shit, they feel like little boss fights in that of themselves. And they're just common enemies that are around every time you come back to this area. There he is, little fucking beetle warrior. And don't even get me started on flying enemies. Oh my goodness, that is something I don't like. I don't like the amount of how many freaking enemies and bosses are flying in the air. Really annoying. Because then you gotta jump and attack, and it's a pain in the ass. And the other thing that's a pain in the ass is that, pretty sure it was a mechanic in the first Hollow Knight as well, but it just feels more, I think I know why, but when you hit enemies, it does damage to you. So if you touch an enemy, it does damage to you, and that could be a real pain in the ass when you're dealing with a big boss enemy that's flying in the air, and you gotta kind of manage your jump, because Hornet is bigger than the Knight and Hollow Knight, so she's quite a bit bigger. She's taller, she's not like fat or anything, she's lanky, but she's got a bit more screen to cover, and I find myself running into enemies a lot more often than I feel like I did in the original Hollow Knight. So that was another thing that kind of bothered me, but graphically, the game is absolutely insane. Holy shit, it's one of the most gorgeous looking 2D freaking Metroidvanias. It's got to be the best one. Like Ori and the Blind Wisp Forest thing, those games are really, really gorgeous looking too. But the detail amount in Hollow Knight Silksong is out of control. The stuff that is going on in the backgrounds, just the details in everything, man. The animations of the characters, the emotions of the characters are fantastic. Also, another pretty big difference is that Hornet talks in this game. She doesn't have like a voice, but she does talk back to people, unlike the Knight in Hollow Knight. He doesn't say anything. So you get a little bit more personality out of your character, which is good. You get a little more story there, which is also good. But like I said, graphically, game is absolutely insane. Looks freaking gorgeous. Everything in the background looks freaking awesome. A lot more color, it feels like this time around. Like the original Hollow Knight, you know, it's white and black and grays, a lot of that. And there's color to that game as well, don't get me wrong. But Silksong's just got so much more of that burst of color. Lots of variety. There you go. There's a word, variety in the colors. And like I said, I haven't gotten to explore the whole entire game, so I can only imagine how much more it's going to open up and all the beautiful locations that I'm missing. But like I said, Silksong's not going anywhere. It's here now, so maybe in a year, when I'm more ready to get my ass kicked, I will get back to it, because it is absolutely a game that deserves your time. It's just not in the mood. So, all right. So we continue our talk about Hollow Knight. So let's talk about the sound design is freaking excellent as well. The music, obviously, banging. The few songs that I've heard, each one of them has been like, oh yeah, this is really good. I jotted down a few of them that were like really, really good. Like Widow, she's got unreal music. Lacey, pretty much everyone, man. Everyone's got banging music. It's awesome. Now, I will probably just go ahead and like listen to some of the OST, the original soundtrack, and just kind of, maybe that'll get me in the mood for it. You know, that could be another thing. I'm going to hit you guys with some tips and tricks how to avoid gamer burnout later. But sound design's excellent. The music's great. The sound is great. Like hitting enemies, them exploding, like just goopiness. Like, oh, the sound effects are fan-freaking-tastic. Let's talk about the bosses. So I'm going to talk about the bosses in order of me challenging them. It could be different for you, but I'll just discuss them. I'll give them a quick grading, and we'll move on to how to avoid gaming burnout. All right, so my first boss was the Bell Beast. Fun, challenging, early boss. Took me a few attempts, you know. Pretty common for every boss to take you a few attempts at least, just to get used to the pattern of the boss and figure out what it's doing. If you can beat a boss on the first try, good for you. You're freaking better than me. But yeah, the first boss took me a few attempts. Wouldn't call him hard. Wouldn't call it a walk, you know, like it was so easy I could just, no problem here. But a B. I think it was a really good first boss. And it actually ends up being a friend of yours. The Bell Beast is like your fast travel system in this game. You ride them around, and it's all good. So you just have to tame it a little bit. Then we get the Lacey. The very second boss of the game turned out to be my first skill check wall. She walled me up pretty good, but I love this fight. Really fun fight. Feels like a one-on-one smash fight, you know what I'm saying? Just you versus one, like a friend, like someone who's equally skilled as you, not just like some computer that you can wall up. Like, no, someone that's good, like a 1v1 online matchup in Smash. This is what this fight felt like. Just sword fight, super fast and chaotic, lots of freaking attacks coming at you, and a very aggressive fight as well. I would have loved to have the parry. I still haven't unlocked the parry in this game. It's very crucial. I think it would have made this fight too easy if they gave you the parry. I imagine that's why they've held off on it. But man, my key to getting through this fight was finally learning my pogo attacks. So you jump in the air and hit them while they're going underneath you or something like that. That was the key to me getting through this fight. Awesome music, A-. That was a fantastic fight. Then I got the fourth chorus. Not a big fan of this one. This one was like the giant bug guy. He's like smashing the platforms down, dropping rocks on you and shit. This one was just annoying because he's up in the air. So I'm constantly jumping, trying to attack him. It's hard to do that. Kind of hard on the fingies. And it's a big boss. And I kept like jumping up into him and getting cheap damage. I'm like, fuck, I don't like that. So it wasn't my favorite boss. It was cool dropping a giant rock on him to get some revenge. That was a nice touch. C+. Then you got Morrowind. Second wall. Took me very many attempts to get through this guy. Now the thing about Hollow Knight is when you hit a wall generally the best practice is to go do something else. Find something else to do. There's probably another path you can go down. There might be another fucking power-up you're missing that's going to be crucial to beating this certain boss. I probably had some similar problems. Like, I heard people that were further in the game than I was and hadn't even had the dash yet. I'm like, how is that even possible? So yeah, you can miss some shit. Maybe I missed something with Morrowind, but Morrowind beat my ass down. Another boss that's in the air, big body, easy to bump into, and also kind of hard to hit because it's in the air and it's moving around and shit, and I didn't like it. And this boss had a cheese. It had a cheese. I looked at it and I was like, all right, I see what they do. Basically, you like run all the way to the right, you go up, and the boss will like follow you up there and you can like hit it without it hitting you. Won't do that no more. So they patched that out, so I had to fight it naturally, and it was very, very fucking hard. It's just throwing a lot of attacks at you. I think it's got a second phase, and I don't like that, but it was a good fight, B. Then we got the Sister Splinter. Cool fight. She adds thorn blocks to try and pin you in, so she's got these like thorn walls that she'll throw down. You can like attack them to get them out of the way, and you gotta get them out of the way. And she will also spawn in some nasty enemies that you will have to deal with, and they are flying enemies, and they're a pain in the ass. And for me to get through this fight, I had to take those guys out. Like, that was my number one priority. Once those fuckers got on screen, I went right after them. I'm like, can't let these guys bombing around. They're gonna get in the way. They're gonna just cause way too much chaos. So had to get rid of those guys. Once I was able to figure out a quick way to get rid of them and to deal with them, I was able to get through this fight. But it was really cool. She can also destroy her own stuff, which is really cool. She do like these powerful slamming attacks, and she can take out the enemies. She can take out the thorn walls for you if you aim it properly. It's a little bit tricky, but it can be done. It can be done. Not recommended, but it can be done. It's pretty cool. And then after that, I hit my final boss, Widow. Never beat Widow. That's where my skill check stopped, and I started to go off and do some other shit. Then I got lost. I got captured and put in prison, and that's essentially where I left the game off. I got caught in prison in that area. That's where I'm at. And I was like, I'm lost. I don't know what to do anymore, and I'm frustrated. I'm not having a good time. So, don't force your way through it, and just stop sometimes. So with that being said, I think now that's pretty much everything that I had to say about Silksong. Is a phenomenal game, highly recommended for gamers that are looking for a hell of a challenge, looking for a hell of a Metroidvania. You got to be in the mood for those kind of games, but if you're in the mood for it, I don't know what much better you can get than Silksong. Like, all said and done, if I had to score it with what it is right now, it's a 9 out of 10. Still very, very, very high. It's just some of the enemies I don't like. I don't like the way that the map is being utilized. I wish I could just look at the map and know where the hell I'm going at all times. That would be great, especially for a Metroidvania at the size of freaking Silksong. I just don't know where the hell I am half the time. But other than that, it's a phenomenal video game. Looks beautiful, plays beautiful, the bosses are hella hard, challenging, mostly rewarding. You know, that's where I knew I was kind of getting in a burnout, when I did finally take down a boss that was really hard and took me multiple tries, and instead of going, yeah, at the end of it, I just went, like, just, that took a piece out of me, and I was like, all right, this is when we know. So, with that being said, the game is awesome. Highly recommend. Check it out. Obviously, it's on Game Pass. So if you have Game Pass, boom, you got it. And that's where I was playing it. Maybe when I return to it one day, if it's not on Xbox, I'll go back to PlayStation. That's where I played the original Hollow Knight, and I would like to continue it there if I could. But again, the game is not asking for every dollar. It's like a 30 some, I think it's $20. I shit you not. I think Hollow Knight Silksong's $20, which is going to go down as one of the best $20 you can spend in gaming. As long as you're into those kind of games. It could be a huge waste if you get into it and you get to the first boss and it beats the shit out of you and you didn't like it. So, but other than that, man, the game is freaking awesome. Absolutely been worth the wait. I just wish I didn't play Nine Souls earlier in the year and let that game kick my ass, and I would have been more prepared for Hollow Knight, but maybe next year we'll get into it. I'm not going to count it. I don't think I'll be counting it in my game of the year because I hadn't played enough of it. So, it'll be a DNF, a did not finish game. It will not be completed. It will not be in contention for awards for this season, but that's okay. It could be next year. It's still available if I can get through the game. All right, so let's talk about gamer burnout. Let's talk about some things that you can do as a gamer to try and avoid gamer burnout. So one thing that I always tell people, I have a lot of friends that like to play kind of one genre of game. You know, one kind of likes their shooters, one kind of likes their platformers, one kind of likes their online games, one kind of likes this, one kind of likes that. Me, I'm a gamer of variety. I love variety. I love to get my feet wet in all the genres, try a little bit of everything, you know, just to see what's out there. If there's something that's going to grab me, maybe it's also good to know what you don't like, so you know what not to waste your money on. If there's a particular franchise that's really popular, but you're just like, it's not for me, then just don't waste your money on it, you know? For me, those franchises are like online things, you know, like, I've been told numerous times to try out Helldivers. I'm just like, I'm not really committed to that kind of game, you know what I'm saying? Things like Apex and, I don't know, League of Legends, shit like that. Like, those are kind of one and only games. Like, you kind of play that and that's it. Not for me. But I always tell people that are kind of that gamer, like, broaden your horizons, man. Like, try something else. If you're tired of playing Call of Duty over and over again, or you're tired of playing 2K over and over again, try something different. Or, at minimum, try a different game mode in that game. If you're only playing, let's say, you're playing NHL and you're only playing Be a Pro, try the franchise mode out. Try that one out. Try some online modes out. Do something different with the game. That is definitely something you could do. Now, in terms of identifying game genres that you would like to try out, that's obviously more or less up to the gamer. If you like, you know, Call of Duty, look up other types of shooters, or a game that has shooting elements, or like a shooting RPG. Like, try out Fallout. It's a first-person shooter, but it also has RPG elements, so you might be really into that. You might want to try something out like a Borderlands. Try a looter shooter. It's first-person shooting, but you also get the fun of constantly upgrading your weapons and finding new things, and it's got the bonus element of multiplayer, which makes the game even more fun. So the best thing you can do is find your favorite game, look up online similar games too. You know, if I love some Uncharted, so I would look up games that are like Uncharted, and I would probably get linked to some of those Shadow of the Tomb Raider games. There's tons of stuff. There's so many video games out there. There really isn't one genre that just isn't even there. Like, there's even co-op games now, man. Like, you can go to the Split Fictions. If you're only a co-op gamer, you might have some trouble, because that would be a semi-limited market, especially if you're not into like online multiplayer and you're strictly couch co-op kind of deal. Then you're kind of limited. There's only so much you can do. But always talk to your gamer friends. Always talk to gamer friends. What are you playing? What are you doing? Like I do. Like, I always like to see what people are up to, what games they're playing, and see if there's something out there that I haven't heard of. Like, sadly, I've lost one gaming friend that I work with. He's moved on to a different company, so that is going to be a huge, like, siphon of games that I have never heard of, especially indie games that I'm going to be missing. So, yeah, definitely always be on the lookout, man. Watch trailers, look up gameplay, watch videos online on YouTube, like top 10s especially. Like, look up things that are really good or well liked and like see if that's something you would be interested in. All right, let's move on to the next one. So don't play too many hard games in a row. Now that is what is going on with me right now. That is why when I finally got to Hollow Knight Silksong, I was burnt out. I was like, yo, I just got my ass kicked by XCOM, very hard video game. I was getting beaten up by Planet Zoo, which shouldn't be a hard video game, but I'm making it hard. I played Nine Souls earlier this year. I played Elden Ring recently. I've played, well, the ones, like I said, Nine Souls, Armored Core 6, that was pretty tough. Frostpunk was pretty difficult as well. I'm looking at Frostpunk 2. Sifu, that was a pretty tough game. So yeah, there's definitely... You don't want to play too many hard games in a row because you could lose your gamer confidence, man. You can lose if you're getting beaten too many times in a row, or you hit a wall too many times in a row, or you're getting frustrated and you don't want to play anymore. And you will have that where hard games love to pull you back, like, oh, I hate this boss, and then 10 minutes later you're back trying it again. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with me? But sometimes it's just try something easy. Don't play everything that's hard in a row, even though I know, like me, I'm having a problem with that right now. I want to replay Bloodborne. I want to replay a bunch of hard games, and I'm like, God, do you really though? Like, after I did XCOM 2, kind of lost a little bit of gamer confidence because I'm like, how did I get through XCOM 2 and I'm having this much difficulty with it now? Like, I don't know what is going on. There's been a lot of updates to the game, so I don't know. A lot of things have changed, but definitely don't play too many hard games in a row. You will fatigue yourself, and you may get yourself in a situation where you're raging too much and you start to hate. You don't want to use the word hate. We don't want it. We don't like that word around y'all. We don't like it. It's but you may find yourself disliking something. So we don't want that to happen. So variety is key. Now, speaking of variety, try to play more than one game at a time. Not a bad idea. Like how I like to do it is I have a mindless game and I have a mindful game. So a big meaty game, like I'm playing Like a Dragon Ishin right now. That's my big boy game. That's my sit down, put my headphones on. I'm sitting there, I'm engaged with the story, I'm engaged with the characters, I'm engrossed in my video game, I'm having a good time. Then there's a mindless game where I can pop in a podcast, like NHL 26, Planet Zoo, play a game like that doesn't have a lot of story, so I don't need to pay that much attention to it, and I can sit there and listen to a podcast, a gaming podcast, listen to whatever you want, gaming, whatever the fuck, listen to this podcast, of course, obviously, gotta listen to this podcast, but I think it's good to have variety. Don't just sit there and play the same game back to back to back. Like, okay, Monday I'm going to play Yakuza. Tuesday I'm going to play some Yakuza. Thursday I'm going to play Yakuza. Friday, all the weekend, looks like we're playing a bunch of Yakuza. I like variety. I like to mix in a little variety in there. Play a little bit of Shell. Play a little bit of Yakuza. Get a little Planet Zoo in there. You know what I'm saying? But there's also, don't put too much on your plate. Don't put too much on your plate. Now, me, I like 2 to 3 games. 2 to 3 games, I think, is good. I like I said, a mindful, a mindless, and then maybe a handheld game, something that when I'm watching TV, I can play. So, like my Pokemon. I have Pokemon on the go, so when I'm watching something that I don't have to be 100% engaged into, I can play some Pokemon while I'm hanging out. You know what I'm saying? So, always good to have a little variety of games on the go, and it also helps you avoid I don't really know what the term for it is, but when you beat a really, let's say you just took down a Final Fantasy. That's a big game. That takes a long time. That becomes a part of your life. You played this game for a month or two. It's become a part of you. And when that's over now, it can be difficult to move on to something else unless you already have something on the go and you can go to that, right? So that's what helps me with that. If I get through a really big game, I already have like a mindless game that I can play on the side that doesn't take a lot of brain power. It's not, I don't have to get into a whole new game, learn the tutorial, and go through all that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So it's always good to have something else on the go. That is something I definitely recommend. All right, up next we have play a mindless fun game. Now, what do we mean by that? Sometimes you can play too many story games in a row, or story-heavy games, or whatever, themed heavy video games. There's just like, a Last of Us, something like that, BioShock, games that have a lot of story, maybe a couple of twists, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Maybe you're a little burned out and all the stories are starting to melt together. You can't tell one story apart from the other story, or you're mixing up one story with one game with another game, you know? So sometimes it's good just to step away from those beefy single player experiences and just step back and play something mindless and fun. Like, one that I've had on my docket for a while that I haven't gotten to yet is Power Washing Simulator. I know there's a lot of those simulator type games, but I've heard good things about Power Washing Simulator, how it can be relaxing and you can just kind of lose yourself in that game. Those are the kind of games I'm talking about when I say mindless fun games. And sometimes those for me are FPS games, first person shooters, you know, that's just shooting. You're just kind of going around shooting shit. I find like a Call of Duty campaign, I find those are pretty easy going. I mean, there are some pretty heavy themes to those games, but I don't really care. I'm just there to shoot and blow things up, so sometimes those are great. A game like Red Faction Guerrilla, I don't know if people remember Red Faction, but those would be great games to have today, where it's just like a big open sandbox with some you know, basic mission structures out there, you know, blow this up, but the whole concept of the game is destruction. Just break this, blow up that building, use these crazy weapons to destroy, and just make a big old mess. And that's fun to do in a video game, because it's not fun making a mess. And, well, I mean, it is fun making messes, but it's not fun cleaning them up. That's for sure. So that's why we got to make those messes in video games, so then we don't have to clean them up. And even a mindless, fun video game could be a multiplayer game. You know, Mario Kart. Pretty much, you can almost get any gamer to play a Mario Kart with you at pretty much any time. They're a pretty universally liked game. I also consider like racing games kind of like a mindless fun game. Like, it's pretty simple. There's no major storyline going on generally with a racing game. It's generally, you start here and you're going there. First one gets there wins. That's pretty basic shit. So that's a good one. Also for me, rhythm games are great. Rock Band, Theater Rhythm Heaven, Final Fantasy, Final Bar Line. You got DJ Hero. Like, fuck, man, any of those games. Those are mindless, all about the fun. and not too hard. Like, you can sit there and you can also just play a game on an easy difficulty. There's nothing wrong with doing that. That can be another point here as well. But play a game on easy or story mode every once in a while. Like, if you are finding yourself in a game where you're really engaged with the story, but the game's kind of kicking your ass a little bit. Let's just throw out Uncharted, for example. That's a good one. That game can sometimes kick your ass. And sometimes you just want to experience the story, collect some treasures, and not really worry about getting shot at by the enemies. You can just kind of walk by them, walk through it. It's not a big deal. So that is also recommended as well. I have done that. I have turned the difficulty down on games where I'm just like, I'm enjoying myself, I'm enjoying the story, but the gameplay is a little bit too hard right now for the experience that I'm looking for. So not a big deal turning the difficulty down or even up if you have to, because sometimes games are boring. For an example, when I play Call of Duty, I generally start on hard instead of normal, just because, I don't know, I want to feel like I'm in an actual firefight, but I don't want it to be on veteran level where like one bullet kills me, because that's kind of bullshit, but too realistic. I mean, one bullet killing you, that's not bullshit, that's totally realistic, but too realistic sometimes, you know what I'm saying? So play a mindless fun game, play a game on easy, not a big deal. Unless you're like a super serious trophy hunter, and sometimes turning them to difficulty will fuck up those trophy opportunities, but hey, they're just trophies, not a big deal. All right, next up, we have stepping out of your comfort zone. So if you are an FPS only guy, if you're an online only person, step out of your comfort zone. Try something else. For example, myself, maybe I need to try a fighting game. Fighting games are not really my forte. I haven't played them since like the PS2 era was where I was like actually into fighting games. I put them down since then. You know, aside from like the WWE video games, that's kind of the only fighting game I'll play. But maybe I need to go back and, because especially there's been a good stream of really good quality fighting games. Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, I think they're on. There's others, man. There's a lot of really great fighting games out there, and I will admittedly, I'm a little curious as to see what's going on with fighting games, because I haven't sat down, played a new fighting game in ages. I couldn't even tell you. The last fighting game that I played might have been Deadliest Warrior on Xbox 360. Played that with my wife. It was a really good time, and I only really have a good time with fighting games when both players are new to it and they're just learning the buttons and they're both crap, and that's when it's fun. You know, when I was growing up, I used to have to play fighting games with my cousins and my uncle that are already very proficient in that video game, and they just whoop my ass mercilessly, and I don't even know what the hell the block button is. They won't even tell me, like, no, you gotta figure it out on your own. So shout out to all the cousins and aunts and uncles that do that to their other cousins and whatnot, because that's not very nice. But seriously, try to get out of your comfort zone. Play something that you've never played before. If you've never played a Souls game before, give it a shot. I will recommend, if you are going to do that, use a guide. Use a guide. Absolutely, highly recommended that you use a guide, especially if it's your first ever Souls game. There's quite a lot going on with those games. It can be very overwhelming, and I absolutely highly recommend that you use a walkthrough when you're playing those games for the first time at least, just so you can understand the mechanics a little bit, because they don't necessarily explain everything to you all that well. So that's my recommendation. If you're going to step out of your comfort zone, go into a hard game territory, don't be shy, use a guide. No freaking shame in using a guide. I don't care. I use guides. That's what they're there for, so use them. So stepping out of your comfort zone, definitely something to look into. All right, and up next we have, the survey says, I wanted to kind of do this as a Family Feud style, but I didn't, because, you know, I didn't have like 30 people messaging me on this podcast, but that's okay. All right, so up next we have replay a favorite video game. Hey, there's nothing wrong with going back and revisiting a classic that you love. It's probably good to have a game. Like, I have a lot of friends, especially the Nintendo side of friends, that have a game that they tend to replay every year, maybe every other year. A Mario Sunshine, a Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker, you name it. It could be any Nintendo game, Luigi's Mansion, something quick and simple, something you can remember and get through, and just to give you that gamer confidence that we talked about before. There's nothing better than going through a game that you know back and forth, front and right, whatever the hell. You know it like the back of your hand, and you just go in there and do your thing. You dominate that game. You see if you can beat it faster than you beat it the last time. See if you can find something new maybe this time around. Regardless, now admittedly, I've been trying to do this more often. I'm not big on replaying games, at least recently, just because there's been so many new video games that I would love to play and try. I just didn't want to dedicate that time to replaying something. But now, I'm getting older, there's some things I'm starting to get hazy on, like, oh man, I don't really remember playing that game. Maybe I should replay it and see if it was as awesome as I remember it, or what I remember of it, or just try to refresh my memory, or again, just maybe to gain a little gamer confidence and get back into something that I know I can dominate and just have a good time with. You know, it's a good game. For me, like I said, Uncharted 4. Uncharted 4 is a game that I've wanted to replay for quite some time now, and I feel like it's going to happen eventually, very soon. And I need that. I need one of those. I need something that I'm familiar with, but not ultra familiar with, that I'm going to be like a little bit bored. Like, oh, I remember this part. This sucks. Because generally, that's what happens to me when I replay a game. I'll get to that one part of the game that I'm like, oh, I didn't like this very much. And generally, I'm like, I'm not invested that much. I've already beaten the game, so I can just stop here. And again, there's nothing wrong with doing that. You can just start a replay of a game, get through the first 2 hours of it like you're used to or whatever, like me when I was a kid. That's all I did. You know, A, I didn't have that many games, and B, I couldn't beat very many games back in the day, so I would just replay them. Replay the first couple hours over and over and over again until I know it like the back of my hand. Say, like Donkey Kong Chrono Trigger, I couldn't tell you how many times I've gone through that opening festival. I've just done it so many times. And then I would play up until I go to prison, and then I'm like, I'm good. And I would just stop there and restart. And there's nothing wrong with that. You get that familiar music, you get that nostalgia, that beautiful, beautiful nostalgia. Everybody loves a good piece of nostalgia. So revisiting one of your old favorites, always a good time. Especially if they've like remade it, re-released it on a different console, you know what I'm saying? If one of your favorite games all of a sudden is available on Switch and you can play it handheld, like, is that not a really cool opportunity to replay one of your favorite games? So I did that with Stardew Valley. I bought it on PlayStation, played the shit out of it, and I was like, you know what? I loved it so much, it'd be an amazing experience to have on the go. So I bought it again on Switch, and I'm still playing it on Switch. So you can do that as well. That's absolutely welcome. All right, what else do we got? I think I got 2 more things here. All right, 2 more. Up next, we have take a break. Watch a movie or take a walk, for goodness sakes. Take a break. You're allowed to take a gamer break. There is absolutely nothing wrong with taking a break me personally, I haven't taken a gamer break in probably since I was 12, 13 years old. Very common for anyone around that age when girls are starting to become more interesting to you. Friends are becoming more of a prominent feature in your off time, and video games tend to go down a little bit in your early, mid, teenage years. Your teenage years, you're not always hardcore gaming, but I came back to it. My only recommendation, if you are going to take a break, don't sell your games. Don't do it. Please don't do it. You will regret it. You'll regret it as bad as I did. I'm still trying to recoup some of those games that I sold back in the day, and some of them I'm never going to get back again, So hang on to them. They'll be, especially the ones that are like, there's so many games are so replayable, man. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, for a guy like me, I'm very lax on graphics, so I can play an old game that looks like poo to some people. Does not bother me. I grew up in the pre-HD era, so I'm used to fuzzy, blurry graphics. Nothing new here, so I'm fine with that. But take a break. Get into something else. Try a different form of media. Try movies. Try TV shows. There's tons of video game related TV shows and movies out there that you can get into that might pique your interest again to play one. So, for example, I have Until Dawn, the movie based on the video game, on my list. Now, I love the video game Until Dawn. I replayed it, I think, a year or two ago. Not that long ago, I replayed it, and it was awesome. And that could definitely pique my interest. If I watched the movie, notice some of the differences in the movie to the game, I might want to replay the video game again. And that's another game those are great games for mindless fun. Those story games, the Walking Deads, the Until Dawns, those type of games. The pick your own adventure style games, they're fantastic. Because very minimal gameplay. You're pretty much just choosing an option and watching it play out. Those are great games to play as well. I will shout those out. But take a walk, there's nothing wrong with getting a little physical. Maybe sometimes you feel a little gamer guilt. There is such a thing where, it's a nice sunny day, it's summer, and you don't really have any plans, so you're sitting there playing some video games, and you're like looking outside, and you're like, man, it's a nice day. Maybe I should do something with myself, take a walk, listen to a podcast, take a little walk, gaming podcast, get those juices flowing again, you know what I'm saying? Not a bad option to take a walk. So do that, take a break, watch a movie, get something else into you. There's more out there to life than just video games. I think variety is one key ingredient to life. Just get a little taste of everything and find how many different things you can really appreciate and how many other things you can like. So sometimes taking a break is the right move. It happens to a lot of us. Some of us take breaks for longer periods of time. Some people never come back to video games, and maybe that could be for the best. That's not a conversation I want to have. I don't want to have that conversation. I need video games. That's my only escape. So sometimes taking a break is a good option. And finally, we'll finish it off with this. Watch a documentary or a retrospective. Kind of similar to the last point, but I mean more so on YouTube. There's so much great gaming content on YouTube that it can really get you going. For example, so the Hollow Knight lore. I watched that video and it got me so engaged with Hollow Knight that it made that experience so much better. Sometimes, when I was younger, I used to just play the video game that I'm playing with the person on YouTube. So I used to play a lot of NHL. So I would watch people playing NHL while I'm playing NHL, and it just kind of simulated like a friend being there with me. It's very sad, but it is what it is. So sometimes just doing that really helps me. I like to watch a lot of gaming related stuff, especially top 10s. I love a good list video, so there's a million list videos out there that you can get into. Ones that I recommend the most if you are like struggling to find a game, look up underrated lists. Underrated lists are a great opportunity because it may be something you've never heard of before, might really pique your interest. It's probably going to be cheap because it's underrated, so not a lot of people probably played it, so it's probably a lower priced video game, and they're generally, they're probably going to be an indie game or 2 or 3 or 7 in that list, and don't be shy with indie video games. Definitely try indie video games. That's another thing. You can, if you're tired of the AAA experience and these big explosions and top graphics and Unreal Engine 5 and you want something different, try an indie game. There's so many and they age like a fine wine. You can play indie games that are over 10 years old and they will still blow you away because the art style, the story, and some of the gameplay in these games are absolutely sensational. But back to YouTube. Go on YouTube. Go on Watch Mojo, even though I don't recommend them that much because their gaming opinions are pretty fucking whack sometimes. But especially when you watch like the hardest video games list, like those are just bad. Anyway, I recommend going on YouTube, looking up gamer related stuff. Always a good time. Always a good time, at least for me. And that's it. That's all the stuff I got listed down here. Hopefully it will help some of you, someone out there. If it even helps one of you avoid gamer burnout or get out of a rut that you might be in, hopefully this helped. I really hope it did. Like I said myself, I'm dealing with a little bit of gamer burnout myself. I'm not really into any game like I normally am right now, and I don't know what that is necessarily. It could be any one of those big things on the list. Could be I need a little break. Could be maybe I need to rejuvenate my love for video games with a good documentary or a few list videos or a nice lore video. Doesn't matter. All I know is that I'm always going to end up coming back to video games because that's what I know best. I know video games best, and that's what I know. So there we go, everybody. Hopefully this helped you out. Let me know if you're playing Hollow Knight and what the hardest boss you have fought so far is. My answer is all of them. They're all hard. Nothing is easy in that game. Fucking every enemy is hard. It's a hard video game. But let me know if you're playing it. How far have you gotten? Have you beaten it yet? Did you get to the credits, and did you get to the full ending? Like, let me know everything about Hollow Knight that you've been up to and all that great stuff. And if you have any suggestions to avoid gamer burnout that I didn't mention in this episode, feel free. Absolutely. I love a good recommendation. I love good advice. Constructive criticism, always welcome as well. So there you go. And in terms of what else I want to do with the podcast, I got the Rhythm Games episode. I got trophies. I want to talk about trophies and like achievements and stuff, which would make a versus video. It could, but it's so one-sided that I don't think it'll be a thing, so I'll just do trophies on its own, and maybe we'll talk achievements another day, or just throw it in with the trophies talk. We'll see, so I have that. And some other stuff. There's other stuff that I'm working on as well, so yeah, there we go, everybody. I want to get into Silent Hill pretty soon, so I can start talking about that in October. That's like the big horror game I want to take down this year, and I'm very excited to do so. Maybe I'll get Silent Hill 3 as well. We'll see how into the series I get and how well it goes. I do have the PlayStation 3 HD versions. I know that's not the best way to play, but it's the only way that I can play for an affordable price, so that's the way I'm going to do it. But anyway, that's what I'm thinking about with the podcast. You guys are awesome for listening. Thank you so much. You want to be even more awesome than you, already are. Make sure you're reviewing the podcast wherever you're listening. Drop a comment on Spotify. You can do that now. Drop comments on Spotify. Let me know what you're playing and doing. Any recommendations and all that great stuff on Gamer Burnout. And you can drop comments on YouTube. I upload all of these episodes to the YouTube channel Gamer GX Videos. Go over there, subscribe, please, and thank you. I've been on 666 subscribers, the devil, for a very long time. We're talking like years. I've been stuck at 666. I don't know if that's people just one person unsubscribes and one person subscribes and they want to keep it at that 666 number. That's great, but let's try and get to 1,000. That would be amazing if you could subscribe on YouTube. That'd be so sick of you, in a good way, of course. But there we go, everybody. Another episode down. Hopefully no one's dealing with any gamer burnout, and hopefully this episode will prevent you from dealing with gamer burnout because it's not fun. But there we go, everybody. Another episode done. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back again with some out GX Plus, kid.